A half-century after the riots, we sat down with some of the rioters and the police officers they clashed with here on Grand Rapids' southeast side, along with others who lived through it. Most agree while this area may look a lot different, not much has really changed.
Please refrain from going into the area, the limits which I have just described.
The riot was captured on grainy film and in black and white newspaper photographs.
When I look at them, I kind of remember, you know?
Yeah.
I kind of remember, but you brought it back to me, and it was an ugly memory for me.
The riot covered a 36-block area from Franklin north to Wealthy, from Ionia east to Lafayette. Not coincidentally, back then, the city's blackest and poorest neighborhoods.
Well, I see it all.
Hezekiah Paulfus was 21, lobbed a few Molotov cocktails, wine bottles filled with gas. Says an officer shot one of his friends.
That was the enemy, the police and the firemen, all of them was the enemy. To me, that's the way I saw it in my mind.
Other protesters say their enemies were discrimination and poverty.
Jobs was hard to get. It was hard to get, hard to keep. That was the biggest thing, really. That was the biggest issue.
Willie Joe Vance had a job, but a lot of his friends did not. He joined the uprising after rioters inadvertently burned down his family's home.
I got to do a couple of We Will Overcomes, and police rushed me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rough, very rough.
Like what?
We all just was poor.
Kathy Cutts grew up poor on the southeast side, couldn't go out to play when rioters swarmed her streets. She was only 8.
They were rolling around and all down there, busting windows out and destroying our neighborhood. And
setting fires, weren't they?
setting fires.
Yeah. 33 fires set over parts of 3 days. The governor declaring a state of emergency, all-night curfews, bans on liquor and gasoline sales. The state police called in.
It was a dark night. It was trying times. Attitudes were way up. Tear gas was everywhere. Gunshots were going off behind houses in the street. It sounded more like a war zone than anything else.
Looting, tear gas, no deaths, but more than 40 injuries and some 350 arrests, many in Kathy Cutts' neighborhood.
And I've been here all my life, so this is all I know. But I've seen a lot of changes, a lot of things, and it's not getting any better for any blacks.
In some ways, it's worse. The 1970 census, taken 3 years after the riots, found 32% of Grand Rapids blacks living in poverty. Now, it's 41%. Today's poverty rate among the city's whites, only 16%. Blacks in Grand Rapids right now are almost 3 times more likely than whites to live in poverty.
Ooh, that's a big gap.
Yeah.
Come on, hit me up.
Target 8 found it is the widest gap between black and white poverty in Michigan's big cities. Bigger than Flint. Bigger than Detroit. In a recent Forbes study ranking America's best cities for blacks, Grand Rapids was second to last. Only Milwaukee was worse. Harry Bolden was one of the city's few black cops during the riots. Rioters fired shots in his direction, called him Uncle Tom. What have we learned over 50 years?
Apparently not much. I didn't know that was the numbers, but they're going the wrong way, obviously, and apparently we hadn't learned much. Or we don't address it and don't want to do anything about it.
Former Grand Rapids officer Dick Besser ducked bullets in the dark, his patrol car doubling as a shield.
It's interesting how much things change, but yet stay the same.
In 1967, Grand Rapids was not black and white. It was black or white, segregated.
It was all black. It wasn't no, and a few whites here and there, but black folk. We had a unity.
1970 census data analyzed by Target 8 showed that nearly 90% of Grand Rapids blacks lived in a narrow swath through the city's midsection.
We don't want you around here. We ain't got this for you. You can't live in this neighborhood because you know you're black. or you ain't making enough money.
Most lived in rental homes, and many children were being raised by single moms. Since the riot, the neighborhoods at the center of it have been gutted, their population cut in half. 2010 census figures show that less than a quarter of the city's blacks now live in that swath where 90% once lived. Many migrated to neighborhoods to the south and to the northeast.
Our street is kind of close-knit street.
Not Tiny Davis. She stayed put. She has lived in the same home on Lafayette Avenue Southeast for more than 50 years, in a neighborhood where nearly 2/3 are black. Nearly half her neighbors now live in poverty.
You were living here when the riots happened in '67?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Is Grand Rapids a good place for blacks to live?
Not young people. Once they get a record of having drugs on them, and they go to jail, they go to prison, then when they get out, they can't get no jobs.
Hey, Travis.
Not a lot has changed for Kathy Cutts. She dropped out of high school, lives a few blocks from where she grew up, still in poverty. She works in a garden to help pay rent.
I get in the dirt, stick my booty in the air and plant.
All around her, new homes have sprouted in a neighborhood once choked with slum apartments.
A lot of people got blessed and a lot of people got new houses.
She has also witnessed whites slowly moving into her once mostly black neighborhood.
I call it the suburbs and the black neighborhood.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, sir.
She's not sure the riots did much to help blacks in Grand Rapids.
Just like now, there are a lot of white people in high places.
Yeah.
And black people are down here. And you got to fight hard to be in a city like Grand Rapids.
Yeah.
I think you have to really go over and above if you want to and work and try to make it here.
Yeah.